Hello gamers, and welcome back to Beyond the Emulator with your host Dylan. And in today's video we're going to actually work with the Crossmix firmware on the Trimui Smart Pro, and we're going to run some PSP games with some settings that I was able to find from about a year ago on a spreadsheet. So we're going to take a peek at some of the games and their emulator that is being used, the PPSSPP, which has some variable functions that allows us to have some different settings than some of the standard Trimui Smart Pro firmwares that are out there currently. This one's allowing you to actually run it with the Vulkan engine for the graphics, so it runs a little bit smoother on this device, where the other ones you're not able to use it. You're stuck with the default of the OpenGL. So it's a little bit limited. So here on the Crossmix, what I did was I have some games I selected. There's about 40 games or so, but I was going to run through maybe about 5 or 6 of them, and we're going to go through them and I'll show you the settings that I've created for them, and we'll get a little gameplay. So here we are. I was actually selecting a few games. We'll just go down the list, and I was going to just do a little bit of a performance testing and show you some settings that I've created on it. And I was going to drop into Burnout Legends. So what I'm going to do is, if you press X up above and hold that down, it's going to drop down a menu of the emulator settings. And what I've been going with is the 1.17.1 Vulkan performance. So press A to go ahead and select that. Should open it right up. You see in the top right hand corner the frames per second, still loading up the game. We should be able to go to our menu key. We should be able to go to a continued game, but just to show you some settings here, go down to my settings, and what I've got here on the graphics is I've got the Vulkan Backend. I've got it 2 times on resolution. I've changed the frame skip to 2. I've left the auto frame skip on, and then down below on the alternate speeds, leave those as unlimited. It seems to be defaulting on this particular emulator settings. Another thing I've done also is on the audio, so it's not so loud, is I've gone over to it and as well set everything a little bit lower. It defaults at 10. I brought them down to about a 6 on the global volume and the reverb volume, and on the retro achievement sound volume it's to a 4. So it just lowers it, doesn't sound so harsh. Go ahead and press B to get out of it. We're going to go back to a spot that I've already started to kind of skip the intro. We're looking at 30 frames per second. We're going to go ahead and hit start. Pull up a game for pops. Let's just go with a single event. Screen seems to be going okay. Sound. This is about as loud as it goes. So you could change your volume if you'd like to. I just don't necessarily need it to be that loud. We're going to go ahead and do a race. We'll go ahead and select a car. Still rating at about 30 frames per second. It's not allowing us to get those cars. Looks like here we're just going to go ahead and pick this one. Picture still seems to be very clear. Still sticking in the frames per second at 30. It does seem to be dropping down. Ooh, not good. One thing I've noticed on the Trimui, ooh, taken out. Graphics seem to be fairly keeping up with it. Sounds okay. I'm not a very good driver here on this. But this game seems to be working rather well with the settings that I have. Now if we wanted to go ahead, let's go ahead and make a change here. We can go to our settings. We'd basically have to go ahead and get out of this. Go back into the game again. Go ahead and press X. We're going to go down again. We're going to use the OpenGL this time for performance, just to see how that functions. Still working well at 30 frames. Let's go ahead and load that up. Now if we go over to the settings, you're going to see the OpenGL. You could change your rendering. You could do 1x for resolution. But again, everything else is the same except for the backend has changed for the OpenGL. Look at our audio controls. They're all the same. So if we were to go back to our load state, still sounds about the same. Seems to be working rather well. Go ahead and get the game car again. Did see a little bit of gray for a second flashing on the screen that wasn't there earlier. Still rating at 30 frames per second. Picture is actually a little bit clear. Yeah. Oops. There we go. Actually, to be honest with this, it's not bad at all. This is actually working a lot smoother on the OpenGL without any changes. Picture seems to be just a little bit clear. There we go. Oh, and it stuttered and crashed. So that, again, just kind of gives you an idea of the settings that have been created for Burnout Legends. One thing is when you do close out on your PPSSPP, what you can do is create a game configuration. It'll save those settings. So if we go ahead and press A under that, you'll see now it says delete game configuration. So it's actually saved those settings for that game. We're going to go ahead and press exit, which is A. We'll go ahead and get out of this, exit, and get back to the main menu. And then we're going to move on to another game. Dante's Inferno. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and press X again. We're going to go into the Vulkan, which is what I'm preferring to use. I feel like I can make some changes on it if I need to be, but that seems to be maxing out the best emulator performance for some of these higher end games. So we'll go ahead and press A to select. Let's see what Dante's Inferno goes. Frames per second, we're in the 60s, now down to the 40s. Gonna go ahead and press the menu key. We can go down to our game settings, and it did sound a lot louder. As you can see, my volume was actually at an 8, so just by the two notches up from 6 to 8, you can see the increase in sound. We'll just leave it at that. We'll go ahead and check our other game settings. It's at everything else. It's got 2 frames that it's skipping. Everything else is pretty much going to stay the same. We're going to go over to, which is my load state, just so we can pass the front intro screen and get into the game a little bit more for gameplay. Stuttered there for a second. Now we're down to about 19 frames per second, and see, it is really jittery. I mean, he's moving. can see that's really nice and clear.
Dante, your fate is decided. Everlasting damnation for your sins.
Volume is very clear. So if I were to, being that this game's got more sound of talking, go into my game settings, change my audio, take that to a 10. Now when we get out of here, go back into it, do a continue. See with the shadows on it, even though it's building a frames of 30 plus, it's got a slight blur to it. It's not so crystal clear.
I will not let my sins damn those dear to me. I will redeem myself. Mortal, you are mine.
There's a little bit of stutter there. And then see how it jumped right up into the game. And now we're skipping a lot of pictures here. It's chopping up pretty bad. When he's going after him, you can just see, and it's dropping down to 18. So definitely this one's struggling. We're not going to embarrass Dante's Inferno this bad. So just to give you that example, it's struggling pretty hard on this. So again, that's Dante's Inferno on the TSP, just to give you an idea. We'll go ahead and get out of this, and we'll move on to another selection of another game. Stay tuned. Keep watching. Welcome to Monster Hunter 3rd. So we're going to go with Monster Hunter, another one with some great graphics and high performance. Going to go again down to the Vulkan. There's actually two versions of this game. One you'll be able to find online. Take some time, is the standard Japanese version, but there is an English patch version. This one's not showing our frames per second. Let's just go ahead and change that, see if we can find those. In this one here, I have no frame skipping, but I have auto frame skip checked. We're going to scroll down. There we go. Going to go ahead and continue. We're at 3260. Again, it's just an opening video. Let's get right to the game. Beautiful front screen. Let's go continue. Might have an existing game already. No. So we're going to have to create a new game. Now here, volume is super loud. So go down to game settings, go down to audio. As you can see, it's at 10. We're going to bring it down to 8. We take the reverb down to 8. Retro achievements don't necessarily need to be high. Now when we go back, sounds a little bit more neutral. It's not so over. So we're going to go ahead and select a character. We're just going to call him number 1. And I'm guessing it needs a name. So we are going to name him Pops. There we go. Everything seems to be running really well at 30 frames per second. Get the game started. So what we're going to do here really quick, we're going to go down to kind of skip our intro for the next time I come and play this game. I'm going to do it as a save state. Now it's showed as a save state. We're going to do a couple other things. We've already got the configuration saved. Let's go ahead and continue on with Monster Hunter 3D. Intro, frames per second, very high. Let me skip through the intro and then come back to where we get to some action so you can see a little bit more when it's down to actually real gameplay. Well, now we're actually to reaching gameplay. All we hear is a lot of background. We're still hitting at about 30 frames per second on this. We're getting all the directions of what we need to do. Where did he go? Still frames per second. Let's see what we want to do. We want to stand up. So you can see his movement here. Here we go. Image is still pretty clear. That waterfall really stands out for noise, but you can see his movement. And now we are ready to go out for battle. If we're able to get ourselves going here. Here we go. And now it's going to get us out of that house. So you kind of get to see a brief gameplay. Ooh, that screen flickered. But everything else seems to be going rather well. As we open up the village. But that just gives you a sense of it is working until we get gameplay. We'd have to go a little further into this, but see it's stuttering. That's not good. So maybe we need to make a few changes here. Let's go down and put our frame skipping. Let's just do 2. And let's go with our resolution. Maybe we'll go down to 1. We'll continue. Now the image is not as clear. I can see that very quickly. So let's go back to that double resolution. Much better. That 1 times resolution was showing a blur distortion, but clearly on the picture. Him walking. Why are we going back? But as far as the image, I'm going to come down here and talk to her. and our language actually turns into Chinese. So our English patch is not showing up here right now. But that just gives you an example of Monster Hunter 3D. Just picture. Go ahead and get out of this. We'll go ahead and save this for later when I get back into the game. And we'll move on to our fourth one. Need for Speed, ProStreet. So let's go ahead and make that modification to the Vulkan. Go ahead and press A to open. We're sitting at 31, now it's dropping. Let's go ahead and make some changes in here. This one hasn't been configured yet. We'll go into the settings. We're at 2 times. The frame skip is on because that seems to be the default right now. With our audio, it's very low. So we're going to bring that up, definitely. Get out of there. Let's do a save state so it kind of skips our intro. Next time when we get into gameplay, much louder. Let's go with a quick play. Pick a course. Let's go with a real simple one. 2 laps. Frames per second is 11, 23, 5. It's jumping. Yeah, this is struggling definitely. So what we'll do is, let's get one more card to pick. We'll take the Civic, unfortunately. Let's take a stab at a little gameplay here. It is just dropping drastically. So what we'll do is we'll switch it to another emulator. Yeah, this is pretty sad. Toyota Celica is not, look at it, it's just not at all trying to keep up with it. Speed and performance in the game. It's sputtering and skipping, I can just tell. So, let's go ahead and get out of this menu. Let's go make a change on our emulator. So Need for Speed, we're going to go ahead and do X again. We're going to go with the OpenGL. Let's go back to our game. There we go, load. We'll go to quick play. Basically going to select pretty much everything the same again. Sounds good. Not as much stutter there, reading 30 frames per second. Let's go with the Cobalt, another disappointing car. Doesn't sound too bad, sounds a little bit better. Our sound is just sputtering. Yeah, it's car's working. Seems to be better, a little bit better on visual performance. Let's get him. There we go. Hey. There we go. Come on, buddy. There we go. But as far as the image on here, definitely a little bit better looking. other than my driving skills. There we go for some skippage. So again, these games like this are struggling on the PSP, in the PSP emulator for the TSP Trimui Smart Pro. But you can get them to work. This is reading 30 frames per second, 20, dropping down. So it's all over the board. It's not able to be consistent. So that just kind of gives you, we're going to go ahead and save those settings. That's pretty embarrassing there. It doesn't seem to be performing well, unless you really want to play that game. Let's go ahead and exit out of that. And for my finale, I've got one more I will bring to the table to show you. Stay tuned, and thanks to continue watching Beyond the Emulator. And we're to the finale. Game number 5. We're going to pick up Wild Arms. So, another great graphic game. Let's go down to the Vulkan. Frames per second, we're at 0. And it's going to start moving. There we go. This one hasn't been saved. Let's go to the settings. Where are we at? We're skipping 2. Auto frame is checked 2 times on the Vulkan. The audio is at 10. We'll leave it at that right now. We will go ahead and do a save state so then I can come back to this again. Turn this down. Reading frames per second at 60. Let's go with a new game. Image is good. Image is great. Nice front screen. Again, most videos are going to reach very high on the frames per second. As soon as the game gets going, it definitely drops down.
I know you're here, Rupert. Show yourself.
Audio sounds good.
The same dirty trick as before.
Again, still a video.
Too much of a coward to fight me face to face.
Well, that's a little harsh. You're the one who asked me to show myself in the first place.
Return my mother's sword. There's no way you could use it anyway.
Hate to admit it, but you're right. No point dragging this thing around if I can't get at its true power.
Alright, let me get into some gameplay and we'll be right back in a second. Gameplay. So here we are. I'm going to start our quest. So, beautiful image, works really well for an RPG. Just wanted to kind of give you that as the last one for Wild Arms. We'll go ahead and turn this down. I'm going to go ahead and get back to some testing on some more PSP games and some gameplay, and then be able to show them on another firmware. Again, thanks for this afternoon for watching Beyond the Emulator and my selection of PSP games on the Crossmix platform using the Trimui Smart Pro. If you like these videos, please put a like and subscribe. I have more coming to Beyond the Emulator. And thanks again for watching, and have a great day.